All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dota Radio Morning Show. Our special guest, Fnatic N0tail, is back with us once again, and we're going to take our second half here, talking about a little bit of 6.79 action, a little bit of meta action here as well. Again, N0tail, thank you so much for being here with us. Zyori and Hippie back with us as well. So I want to start by talking about Wisp. Since 6.79 hit, he was nerfed a little bit. The tether no longer stuns, the 100% attack speed, and movement slow. We've talked about it to great detail. Since 6.79, you are really the competitive player running Wisp. Your record since 6.79 is 10-2, and you have been responsible for over half of the EO picks. Talk to us about that hero a little bit. Why is it that Fnatic seems to be the only team that is still running Wisp?
I think it has something to do with how you like to play together. We've always liked to have global presence. Like we're a big fan of shutting down the map in a way. If you get so far ahead that enemies eventually can't show up where you're at, if they can show up where you're at, then what happens if you can be everywhere? Like that's what IO pretty much does, and that means you can't show up alone. Like that's the idea with Wisp. Then you got to group up as 5, but you're not grouped up yourself, so you're slowly gaining a big advantage on them, and it's very easy for them to make a slip up. As soon as they split, you can capitalize on it, and yeah, like that's more or less the idea. And we still, like, personally, I think Wisp is a great laner. The problem with him is obviously his HP, his armor, and that he doesn't have an ultimate that actually does much other than move your precision.
Right.
So it actually doesn't help kill anyone in a 5-on-5 necessarily. But it's still something we like to run. We like the global presence, and we like the dual mid. That's why I think IO works so well for us. No other team does dual mid as frequently as we do, or that we've done.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. We've seen that several times in 6.79, especially since you guys have been back from Korea. There was that string of matches right when you came back where you guys beat Virtus Pro, and then you beat Na'Vi, and then you guys were like doing the gauntlet where you had to play Alliance in back-to-back best of threes. I had my fingers crossed, but you guys couldn't pull it out. I was hoping you guys could like do the trifecta and beat everyone, and then all of a sudden throw the meta up on side its head, because you guys were the only ones running Wisp, and at that time too, kind of the only team running Naga. We haven't seen Naga picked up nearly as much. And the big hero I want to ask you about is Batrider. What the hell is going on with that hero? Both Hippie and myself have said multiple times that we still think he's viable. He's still ridiculously strong. His laning presence is still there, although not as powerful as it was. What do you think? Do you think he should be ignored and picked as infrequently as he is right now?
The games that we play, I'd say that we still see Batrider being touched like half the times. And when I say touched, I mean banned or picked.
Right.
Like at least in the games that I'm playing in, and most of the games I watch, I still get to see a bat. I think most top teams would still pick it, maybe outside Na'Vi. Then you have a few Asian teams and Alliance. Right. They still like to run it.
So
but as you see the patch, like what the patch did, it kind of makes sense that you're going to see it less. I'm not talking about the bat nerf, but everything else.
Yeah, the jungle change and all that. The jungle change is the big one for you. The mud golems really throw a wrench into the mix, huh?
In a way, the jungle buffed bat as well. Like the positioning of the camps made him better if you're picking him on Radiant. Like potentially better. Depends on if you get mud columns or not, but you get a medium camp. What happens if you stack that? You get ogres, wolves, ogres, satyrs, wolves, whatever, and the big camp. And like potentially you can get more. That it's not so much about the jungle either, but in general, what people run now is like makes Bat not get the time that he wants. Like Bat is a hero that gets twice as good once he has 2 items. Like it's the Force Staff, Blink, and then the next item he gets 50% as good. BOTs, like he keeps getting better on these items. Right. Everything is aggression. Everything is outlaning. Everything is perma action. What is a Batrider just with a blink if you're playing against 5 people? Then he's a blink stun, you know? Yeah. And he puts himself in the middle of everything. It can backfire. That's why I think most people are not gonna like be so comfortable first picking Bat, because he might not be worth the first pick anymore. I don't think he is.
Okay, interesting. And I guess you're right. To be fair, we have seen him in a fair amount of games. It's just different. I mean, I've heard a few casters say, "Oh, he's garbage tier now," and I don't think he's garbage tier. But
most casters don't know jack shit.
Fair enough. I'll include myself in that. So, all right, let's talk about Meepo a little bit. Chris, start us off. Just give us a little rundown here, very quickly, about sort of the changes to Meepo, and then we'll let N0tail chime in on his thoughts, the Meepo master, as it may be.
All right, for those of you who don't quite remember what we had going on in 6.79, Meepo got an armor reduction of 1 point, got a turn rate improvement of about 30%. From 0.5 to 0.65. The Earthbind cast point was lowered from 0.5 to 0.3. Can throw that net a little longer. Big thing, Divided We Stand leveling. You'll get your first level at level 4, but will not get your final level in the ultimate until level 18. So you're getting the first clone a little earlier, last clone a little later. Although once you're stacking up all that XP from all the clones, you're probably not waiting too long for the last one anyway. And then I think what's even bigger than that, though, is removing the 30% stat share on your ultimate before you get the Ergonomics Scepter, meaning that now it's a whole lot tougher to keep your early Meepos alive. And I think N0tail, if I remember right, I think that was one of your first impressions, not getting the like 130% of the strength on treads. If you needed to go treads earlier, not getting like the extra 30%. Just how big is that when we're talking about trying to actually get your Meepo farmed to the point where he's useful?
The thing is now, if you look at everything the way I see it, is just that his mid game can be worse. Like if you don't have the extra stats, you don't have the extra stats from treads, you don't have the night vision. Like your mid game is worse when you had the level 11 treads blink prior to the patch to when you have it now. Because yeah, you also have the armor nerf, but the stats and the night vision. But you can get it earlier. You can get those items earlier. So pretty much how I saw it was that you had to steamroll with him. You had to snowball, and you had the chance. You have a bigger chance to snowball with him now. And if you do it, you can. That was what Meepo was about, was getting ahead. It's the same with anti-mage. You gotta get ahead of everyone, and then it becomes so hard to fight back because you can get so much ahead in so little time. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what the patch also, I feel like, built up on. Getting level 4. Don't fucking ask me who got these ideas. I was not asked about Meepo. I don't know who's making these suggestions. Like if Ice Frog is just smoking some stuff and like then he starts thinking about, oh, what can I do now? But it was changed, and I can see how you can play him. You're forced to get the treads now. Due to not having the stat share, you're too fragile getting instant boots of travel, getting tranquils you can't, because you can split them up, and you need the strength. You're too weak, and the treads makes you more prone to snowball as well because you keep taking fights earlier. Like that's what the Earthbind buff was really good for, and the turn rate buff. Like the Earthbind is like in Dota 1 now. I never played it in Dota 1. I only got to see videos of Meepo, but it's more or less like undodgeable if you get too close with Meepo, and it's so easier to get on more people. Like again, catch one guy steps in to help him, it's easier to get the net on that guy, and from there you just keep snowballing, and that's what you have to do in this patch with Meepo, is snowball really, really hard. And you can do it harder than you could previously.
Right.
So in a way it's a buff, in a way it's a nerf, it's yes and no, it's ups and downs. It's hard to say like which one you'd prefer. But for competitive play, I think Meepo got in general worse due to early aggression again. But you can snowball with him, so it's also a yes and no. It's so much about so much. Like in some drafts, he's still gonna be a good hero.
Right. So do you guys have any tricks up your sleeve, or particular heroes that work well with Meepo? That any inside info we can keep an eye out for in drafting?
Well, right now I think the whole Rat Dota idea went out the window. Fury and Meepo like going POTs. In a way, it can still work, but one thing I think is kind of ridiculous is if you get Ancient Apparition Meepo against certain lineups that rely on heal, like against a Nake, say, you get an A ulti on them, Meepo jumps him with the passive, gets one hit with everything, gets 140 extra magic damage, because 3 Meepos will hit once or more, like depends on how you skill it. Mm-hmm. Like that combo can be dangerous. It can both end up feeding. Like we haven't given Meepo any thought or playtime in our competitive play, because I don't think any of us would see him working in the way the game is being played right now.
Right.
It's a tough question.
Okay, gotcha. So last hero I want to ask you about before we move onward to some other stuff. Venomancer. What are your thoughts about him, and why has he sort of been a breakout hero as of late? I've seen him even first banned a couple of times in the past couple of days. What's going on with that?
AoE Lina ulti that slows and has a 22-second cooldown when you max the Gale.
Yeah, wow.
550 damage. AoE 22 seconds cooldown, and it gives you a slow. Like,
Yeah.
then you have the ulti on top of that. It's gonna be a level 2 Lina ulti suddenly, and the toxicity on wards is just a bonus, but it's mostly the Gale buff that makes the hero so retarded for the mid game.
I like
Plus,
the idea.
he's also good in the meta.
I like the idea of counting hero strength based on how many Lina ults they can do. That's a good metric. I like that.
It's a friend of mine that told me, and then when you see it from that perspective, you kind of start thinking, you know, oh yeah, it's not even his ulti, but it's a Lina ulti, AoE, 22 seconds cooldown.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
That's pretty ridiculous. Wow. So, MLG Columbus, right around the corner. Thoughts coming into that event? Any predictions for who might be the top 3 teams coming into that? Because it is really an all-star roster of those 9 teams that are going to be there.
I have no idea who's going.
Pretty much every big team. Alliance, Fnatic, Na'Vi, DK, Dignitas.
Oh, shit.
EG, Liquid.
EG, Liquid, and one of the qualified teams. I forget, one of the no-name teams. Pretty Boy Swag, maybe.
Wow, no-name teams.
Wow.
Way to just hype them up.
If they don't have a Wikipedia article, then they're a no-name team. How's that? Is that fair? Is that a fair metric? We don't have a Wikipedia article, so there you go. Fair enough. I don't know. But
casters right here.
Maybe I'll reformat the question. How do you think DK, the only Chinese team, is going to fare against the EU/NA teams that are going to be there?
I think that DK is going to be a tough opponent for everyone but Alliance. Like, I think Alliance are rice eaters. They will eat them up because they usually do. Like, for some reason, it's just been so easy for them to beat most Asian teams. And I also think that they fear Alliance a lot. I think they go into the game thinking that this is going to be the hardest game of our lives every time.
Yeah.
Like, if they see the Sulabear ban or Sulabear pick, it's like demoralizing.
Yeah.
That's just because I think they all remember it's traumatization.
Yeah.
But it would be stupid not to think that Alliance will not get top 3. I'm gonna say top 2. I'm pretty fucking sure they'll get into the finals with Na'Vi. You never know.
Alliance Na'Vi finals. Oh man, that
it's
would
like
be...
Na'Vi always sneak their way in. Like you think they lose the game, and then they like 7 or 8 fountain hooks, and then they're suddenly in the finals. It's like
just when you think they're out, KYXY shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Na'Vi obviously big contender for that. DK big contender.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that we can beat all of them. Like I think there was a reason Alliance didn't pick us at international. Like, I don't think that they didn't think they were stronger than us, but I think that we're one of the teams that, on a really good day, we're gonna be able to take the game off them.
Yeah.
Whereas I think on most days they can like pretty much take games off everyone, including us. But yeah, I feel a bit more confident against Alliance than even like some other teams. But now you're still scared playing them. Like you don't expect stomping them.
Yeah, I can see why Alliance would be, I don't know, not intimidated, but if given the option to not play you guys, because a very different play style. Alliance is much more, everyone knows what they're going to do. It's very predictable, but they just execute it really well. And you guys are a little more chaotic with your play. You guys like to throw the curveballs. You like to draft stuff, put them in lanes that you wouldn't always expect. Right when I started casting again, like one of the second games I saw Fnatic, you went solo mid with Wisp. And I was just like, all right, so Fnatic is not afraid to just kind of make changes at the line of scrimmage and say, this isn't going to work, let's try something different. And I can see why that is intimidating to Alliance a little bit, because it's just such a difference in play style. Fingers crossed, though, man. I hope you guys go far, and it'll be interesting just to see all the Dota talent in North America. That's a rarity outside of the TI3, so or TI in general, not just TI3. So it should be interesting. How have you been enjoying playing support? Both Chris and I have a Han background, so honestly, we both think of you as kind of a mid player more than anything else. I remember the solo mid N0tail days. How is it playing position 4? Has that been kind of a rough adjustment for you? Do you wish you could be playing mid a little bit more often in Dota, or are you pretty happy with playing support these days?
Well, after the patch, I mind a lot less. The patch was definitely a big booster to play support, and you can do a lot more. If you play good, you have more to play around with. in general, like I've always just been happy to play 5-on-5. I think even in Heroes of New Earth, I would have been I've always found it easier to play mid, especially back then. Now it might be different. When I play pubs, I never play the same way I would in our officials, because you have less to play around with in officials as a support. You have less gold. You don't spend it on items you can use. I like that. I like activation items. I like to have more to do. You can have more of an impact as a hero with 6 items. But I never mind like playing whatever, as long as we're playing 5-on-5. Like competitive play, I always find funny. It's a shared goal, and it's a shared thing you have to do. I mean, not everyone agrees. Like we have our offlaner who thinks he's a carry sometimes. But I always look for the team's best interest. And I think that's kind of nice. Like, and it's nice when everyone else does it.
Right.
Yeah.
As
a solo mid, I can still do it. I can still rip everyone.
I'm sure. I have no doubt.
For just a second. So you say you like having more things to do. Can you confirm or deny the rumors that whenever there's micro heroes on the team, people just share unit control with you and you do all the like Visage bird control and stuff, or is that just a rumor?
I used to do the Visage birds on almost any hero. I always take Era's creep if he gets a Dominator and stacks Ancients. But lately, especially if I play Wisp and a few other heroes, I can't take the birds as well. Wisp is too much. But if I play a hero like Shadow Demon, I feel like it's so nice to be playing with the birds, because as Visage you have less to do with the birds. You don't actually play the stunning hero. You kind of have to predict what the other guy's doing. Whereas if I play Shadow Demon and I have the birds with me, I can fuck them up. Like I can do so much with the birds then, and that's why I like to have them shared as well. And then Visage gets kind of better as well because of the positioning for the nukes. Like it worked out really well, like really, really well for some games. But lately, Fly has been playing with the birds, I would say, over half the games. And it has a lot of the times I would play way worse if I had to control them with, say, a Wisp.
Okay. Interesting. That makes sense, though. I guess some heroes require more micro than others, but I'm glad to hear that there is some truth to those rumors. And on the topic of your kind of world-renowned micro skills, one of the things that you're most known for, how do you manage avoiding arm pains? Do you have any issue with RSI? Do you take like ergonomic precautions? Do you sit up straight, or are you kind of a YOLO? My arms can take it, and I'm not worried about it. Do you have any issues with that kind of stuff?
I can swing my leg behind my head anytime. I can do whatever the fuck I want to. I've never had any back problems or anything like that.
No carpal tunnel or tendonitis or anything?
Never. Wow. I mean, my cousin is a physiotherapist. I once visited him and I had like a very slight cramp in my keyboard hand, my left one, and I did acupuncture and it kind of made it like completely go away, but it was very slight. So.
Huh.
That's like one precaution I tried. I've only done it once, but it worked quite well. I should maybe do it again because it's something to do with the blood flow. But
yeah,
I've never had any issues with anything. I have a pretty good chair now, so but I've never really had any back problems ever.
Yeah, well, that's good. I always worry with I remember watching StarCraft 2 and seeing TLO. He was doing something where his arm was making these cool little lines, and I was just like, oh man. It's not going to be funny 5 years from now when he can't pick up a pencil. Lo and behold, he was injured like 3 months later. It's scary, man. It's scary business.
Yeah, no. Well, I kind of bind smart though. I don't have any completely awkward keys on my keyboard. I just bind smart, so I don't have to stress my hand ever. I haven't stressed my hand since I played World of Warcraft, because that's when you had to have like 40 keybinds.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Were you a competitive WoW player? Did you do arenas and whatnot?
Yeah, shit, man. I was the best.
Yeah?
I was number one, yeah.
Number one? Did you ever play competitively? Win some tournaments?
No, I was not allowed to attend tournaments. It's something to do with Denmark and the rules, like there with I don't know, taxes or some shit. I was not allowed to attend through official Blizzard tournaments at least. Sucks. And it was something to do with age in some tournaments. I was like 15 or 14. I was fucking number one, man. There was no doubt about it.
Did you get number one Glad any season? Are you like a Merciless Glad or something?
Shit, I was farming Merciless Gladiator for other people, man. I didn't need that shit. We had a system going. We were getting everything. all the achievements on the battle groups, they were mine. Like partly because like if I was with BLC, no one wants that the Death Knight came out. I played the Wrath of the Lich King. I played for like
Lich
a couple
King.
of months. Yeah, we had a rogue with full PV gear, and then you just go 3-man arena, ambush, vanish, ambush, and you get all the achievements.
Yeah.
That's all you had to do.
Yeah, back in the awesome days of WoW. Oh man, that was when I stopped playing as well. I gave up
after that it was fuck that.
after Wrath of the Lich King. Yeah, although I have to admit, seeing that expansion release at BlizzCon, it looks interesting. What is it? Battles of Draenor or whatever, Warlords. Probably won't play it, but
my teammates were talking about it. I don't know. Yeah.
I'll stick to my Final Fantasy 14. It's a better game.
How about Hearthstone? Have you put any love into the new collectible card game from Blizzard?
I played it a couple of hours. I know Fly from my team. He plays it a lot, and I played it some with him in Korea. It's kind of a fun game. I mean, it's a lot of RNG, but you can. Yeah. It's like Dota in a way, in the sense that you kind of try and reduce as many percentage factors as possible. Like give you a higher chance to win all the time. Try and think ahead. But in the end, it's a lot like Dota. There's so much RNG that you can't account for.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually didn't watch much of the Blizzcon tournament, but I've been having fun with it. I don't know. I finally broke down and spent $40 or whatever on some packs because I couldn't get over the starting cards are so lame. It's not even fun until you start getting real cards. But yeah, we'll see. It's a nice change of pace because one complaint I have with Dota and why Dire Tide in my mind is I see why people like it is because sometimes I'm just not in the mood to try hard. You know, it's just like I don't want to. I want to play something but not have to focus like intense on a Dota match because I mean Dota's not fun if you're not trying hard, if you're just gonna feed or whatever. So not that you ever have that problem, but
no, it's something I do. When I play Dota, I focus and if I have to chill, I would prefer to play another game than Dota. Because if I play with people that I would say are below my skill level, not to be a giant ass, but some people have less game time than me, and I like to think that I'm better, then the games end up in me not really enjoying it, and I still take it too serious. I can't turn that down. Like I want to take even the pub serious. I don't want to start getting into a slump. So that's why I would also choose a game like Hearthstone to relax with, and I don't play Dota if I want to chill.
Right, makes sense. So we're getting close to the end here. I noticed you've been streaming a good bit. You've been on the front page of Twitch TV, which is good news. That's one of those things that's kind of fought after. A lot of people aspiring for that center stage. How have your streaming efforts been going?
Last month, there's not been any streaming from my part. Ever since Korea, when I get home, I've had to travel some. I have a lot of real life stuff I try to balance with our busy schedule. But we're soon about the boot camp. Sadly, we don't have the internet power to stream from there, unless we're gonna stream some Super Mario Smash Brothers. Like that could end up happening. Like no one else gets to play. But other than that, there's not gonna be any streaming until December. Like we have so many LANs coming up. The streaming is not been going good because I've not been doing it, and I don't have the time to.
Bummer.
But I plan to return to do it. I've always enjoyed doing it. I find it very entertaining.
It seems like it. Every time I turn on your stream, you're smiling or you're yelling or doing something else interesting. It seems like you're having a good time. I saw one of the highlight videos of I don't know. It's hard to watch your stream and not smile. You're like a less obnoxious moon meander, if you'll take that as a compliment.
I never watched Moon, but I like that you would take me over him. That makes me feel good.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So, Chris, anything you want to add here?
No, man, I'm good. I did have a blast talking to you, though. It's been a very pleasant interview.
Yeah, it certainly has. So any shout outs or anything you want to, I have on your little flashcard here, your Twitter and your Twitch TV links, but anything else, the floor is yours, my friend.
Shout out to my team, hashtag go to China, hashtag win some money. And yeah, shout out to you guys for having me.
Oh, believe me, the pleasure is ours.
A very nice interview. I always like these laid back stuff.
Hey, that's what we're all about. That was the idea behind the morning show. If we make a nice platform, audio only, make it easy, then people will want to come on and talk about their problems or their insights and all that stuff. So glad you could make some time for us. And you do have some matches coming up today, correct?
1 hour from now, we're playing Dignitas.
Okay.
Last game today.
Okay, awesome. So, and which tournament is that on, so people can find it if they're curious?
I think it's D12, the
I can't keep
Hyper
this
X
straight.
thingy. Maybe it's the Dota 2 Championship. I don't fucking know, man. There's
Yeah,
so
Pretty
many.
sure it's D2.
It's D2L.
It's
yeah.
Hyper X D12.
Yeah,
it is.
AC going to be casting it. So,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, all right. That pretty much wraps up our episode today, guys. We don't have too much else to add. Charlie will be back with us on Friday. That's going to be it. So, why did I say Friday? Wednesday. Today's Monday. I'm all sorts of messed up. Remember, guys, you can always email into the show, morningshow@dotaradio.com. Any comments, feedback, anything like that, guests you'd like to have on the show, feel free to drop us a line. Remember to check out the portal, dotaradio.com/morningshow. That's where you'll find this episode archived. The audio-only version, as well as the YouTube VODs, are going to be uploaded immediately, and that's where you can find them. Until next time, though, we are going to be covering MPL today. The N0tail Pro League coming up. I believe it is Virtus Pro versus Mouse Sports coming up in just about an hour. So we'll be casting this afternoon also. I will say, I'm going to leave the channel on for a little bit here. But, yeah, plenty of Dota Radio action coming your way. Thank you for joining us, folks. We will see you guys next time, Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock EM Eastern Standard Time for episode 11 of the Dota Radio Morning Show.